Hello friends, welcome to my little corner on the interwebs. If you're new here, my name's Kathlena and I'm autistic with a heavy dash of ADHD. I make videos about autism and neurodiversity, so if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to click the subscribe button below. I wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 32 years old. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 23 years old. A huge reason why I wasn't diagnosed with these until adulthood is because autism and ADHD has pretty much only been studied in one very specific group of individuals. I could say that what is not being represented is the version that females present, but that's just not the reality, especially considering that when we look at the spectrum, we have a huge LGBTQ plus community. So this isn't just ADHD, autism in females. It is just another version of neurodivergency that anybody can experience. So with that said, here are 8 autistic traits explained by an autistic female. So the first trait that I want to talk about is a general difficulty understanding what other people are thinking or feeling. This person can constantly be second guessing if the person that they're talking to actually understands what they're saying, or if they are interested at all in the conversation that's taking place. I know for myself personally that I often find myself over-explaining because I don't know if the person that I'm talking to knows what I'm talking about, or when I'm in a conversation and I am the one that is talking, I have thoughts in the back of my head of wondering if I'm talking too much or if the person's actually interested or if they're just being nice. Autistic trait number 2 is that individuals can become really anxious about social situations. This could be all social interactions or isolated social events. For myself, I can get really excited for one-on-one interactions or parties with very limited amounts of people, and by that I'm thinking like less than 10, and all of those 10 people I have to know really, really well. If there's one outsider that I've never met, that throws off the whole dynamic for me and I will get anxious about that situation. I also get anxious about social interactions with my core group of people in a larger setting. So if we're going to a concert or somewhere where there's a lot of people, I get very anxious leading up to that event, and it's really exhausting for me. Even if I'm not interacting with anybody new, just being around all of those people is really draining on me and causes a lot of anxiety. Autistic trait number 3 is that an individual can unintentionally come off as blunt, rude, or uninterested in other people. This can be things like thinking that a conversation is done or not knowing where to take a conversation, and so just ending it at that point of not knowing where to go, answering questions honestly when maybe that's not necessarily what the person that was asking the question was looking for, or speaking out of turn. There have been so many times in my life where I've been in a conversation or I've been around people and someone will say, "You just speak what's on your mind, don't you?" For me, I've never really felt as though that was something bad, but it usually, when it's said, it's not said in the best ways. It's not said in a positive way, like, "You're so honest." It's usually coming from a place of, "You should really keep that inside your mind and not speak it out of your mouth." This characteristic can also be the person who's extremely shy and doesn't talk much. The next autistic trait that I want to talk about is difficulty expressing and understanding our feelings. Finding the words to effectively communicate how you're feeling on the inside can be really difficult, especially in the moment when you're feeling them. When pressed to explain how they are feeling, a person can become flustered and end up frustrated and potentially shutting down. For myself, when I'm bothered by something, I almost always have to separate from whatever situation is causing the strong emotion and sit by myself for a little while to break down what I'm actually feeling and what caused it before I'm able to communicate that with anybody else. It's not just that I have difficulty communicating it to other people, I have difficulty knowing what it is myself. The next trait that I want to talk about is that some people on the spectrum can take things very literally. This would be a person who has difficulty understanding sarcasm. I've learned the meaning of most commonly used synonyms, but I still get the literal picture in my head anytime somebody else uses them or if I happen to use one. Wearing my heart on my sleeve, literally think of a heart on a sleeve. Turn your frown upside down, literally think of somebody turning upside down. The next trait is a strong sensitivity to sensory input. So this can be things like taste, hearing, sensitivity to light or clothing, as well as smells. So this can look like somebody who is very picky about what they eat, possibly startle easily, prefer the same comfortable style of clothing, or can become physically ill at the smell of strong fragrances or certain odors. There is also an opposite to this. So you have the highly sensitive to input, and then you have individuals who are not sensitive enough. So they really seek sensory input, and it can also vary from sense to sense. So for myself, I am very sensory seeking when it comes to foods and flavors and textures, but I am extremely sensitive when it comes to fragrances or smells. So the next trait on my list is special interests. This can vary widely from person to person. Some individuals have very limited special interests where they're really just very highly focused on one specific topic and really enjoy focusing on that one topic, while others have varying special interests that can change throughout their lives. But the commonality between the two is the intense level of focus on that interest. Food and nutrition have always been a consistent special interest for me, but I've also had varying special interests come in and out of my life. And in those phases, I eat, sleep, and breathe whatever topic I have latched onto. The final autistic trait on my list that I want to talk about today is masking. Masking is a coping skill often learned early on to hide autistic traits. We will intensely watch people or characters on shows, really any personality that we admire or want to be more like. We begin to mimic those characteristics. We essentially copy and paste human behaviors. There you have it, friends. 8 autistic traits explained by an autistic female. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you resonated with anything, please let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from all of you and connecting with you. You truly are why I come back and make these videos. And if you have any video ideas that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Remember to be kind to yourself, and I will see you in the next video.